and welcome back to a brand new season of Nighttime. Hope you didn't miss us too much. I'm your host, Matthew Bracker, and we have a very exciting episode in store today, talking coaching changes, UCF basketball, and of course, previewing the national championship. But first, it's time to introduce someone who is clearly not Patrick Previty, but a Nighttime regular last season, our new co-host, Kathleen Moore. Welcome into the show.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I'm so excited to be here, taking the place of HTF's favorite frat guy.
Excited to have you here. Now, a lot has happened in the world of college football since we've been gone. The 12-team playoff is nearing its end, claiming the lives of a Heisman runner-up, a former Knight, and a chopped-up QB over in Georgia, now in Miami.
Not only that, NFL legend Bill Belichick is moving down south to become UNC's own Leonardo DiCaprio. Coach.
And Travis Hunter is sitting alone with his trophies watching all this play out because, as we all know, the man likes to watch.
But now it's time to talk about some of the biggest moves UCF has made to its coaching staff, including UCF's own Scott Frost returning as head coach with the Natty in his sights.
An opportunity to coach football again and do it at a high level. An opportunity to do it in a great community that my wife and I loved living in, and we can put roots down and raise our 3 children together in a place that we love to live. So I'm grateful to be here. I hope everybody doesn't think we're going to go undefeated immediately.
Hey, we can hope, right? Now, like we said, Scott is returning as head coach after 2 years with us from 2016 and 2017, probably our greatest season in school history, where we went undefeated. We won the American Conference and won the Peach Bowl, controversially declaring ourselves as national champions. Now, Kathleen, do you like this move for UCF now that the Gus Bus has left the station?
I really like this move, Matthew. I think that UCF was in the trenches after Gus Malzahn had its turn with us for the last couple of seasons. I think UCF football culture is down, and I think that Scott Frost is really going to turn it around and rejuvenate the culture here at UCF.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I personally love it because I think that it gives recruits something to look at. And they're saying, hey, this is a guy who's won here before at a high level. Maybe he can bring that winning culture back to a school that, since moving to the Big 12, I mean, hasn't really. I mean, this is the first year we didn't make a bowl game for 5 years or so. So it's tough. Now, obviously, Scott, his tenure with Nebraska since he, after he left UCF wasn't great. Didn't record a winning season with them. But I think that this is his home. I think he just missed his home.
I agree. I think the formula is Scott Frost, UCF equals winning games.
There we go. But we are going to get into some other coaching changes around college football, starting with Rich Rodriguez. Now, he is coming back home to West Virginia. Now, he's coming from Jacksonville State, coming back to, the team he coached in 2001 to 2007 when Virginia was still in the Big East. I really like this move because this is a guy who, kind of like Scott Frost, found success with this team, left to go build up his career, didn't really find too much success, so now he's just coming back.
I know he just wants to come back home, and now granted, college football looks a lot different in the Big 12 than last time that he was with West Virginia.
That's true, and that's something Scott has to, work around too.
Yeah, he also has that contend with.
Of course, but now we're going to move on to probably the biggest coaching news of the offseason. Bill Belichick, NFL legend, is moving to UNC to coach in replacement of Mac Brown. Now, do you like this move?
Now, I am a Carolina girl, but I'm an NC State fan, so no-go heels for me. And I really don't like Bill Belichick either, so I think he's probably going to do well here. But truly, Matthew, I think he's going to have a lot of one-and-dones. I think recruits are going to be excited to play for him, but they're not going to be able to stand working with him in college after a year.
Yeah, but you're just a hater. So
okay, well,
I think that this is a great move. This guy is a legend in the NFL, 7-time Super Bowl winner. The guy knows how to win, so clearly he's going to bring that, energy to this team who, under Mac Brown, they floundered this year. It was rough.
But you have to think about it. We talk about, does college play translate into professional play? Does professional play translate back down into college play? Well, I don't think so. We're
just going to have to see. But final move, Dan Mullen to UNLV. Now, he is replacing Barry Odom after he led UNLV to probably their best record ever, 10-3. Now, Mullen is most notable for his time with the Gators and Mississippi State, but he hasn't coached at the collegiate level since 2021, becoming a broadcaster for ESPN in 2022. I like this move because this is a guy who has experience in the SEC, and now he's moving to, the Mountain West. I think that, if you can find some success, because he's been in the SEC for a long time. You can definitely find success in the Mountain West. They're just building up that program over there.
Right. It's like New York. If you can make it there, you can really make it anywhere.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But all right, final question of this segment. Who do you think is going to have their best record in their first season with their new teams?
Well, here on Nighttime, we like to back the hometown boys, so I got to go with Scott Frost here, which I know is a controversial take, but I really think that this is the formula for UCF. I think that Scott Frost is going to do a great job.
Trust me, I hope you're right, because that would make my life so much happier.
Right.
But I think that it's going to be Bill Belichick. Like I said, I think his expertise and experience is too much to handle. Has some questionable taste in women, but you don't need that to coach a football team. But we're going to move on past all of that. When we come back, we're going to talk about some UCF basketball. Stay tuned.
Behind every on-screen moment is a whole team of engineers and technologists.
And you can be a part of such a team through Simpy at UCF. You'll join a team of students just like you who are ready to innovate the future of TV and film.
With Simpy at UCF, you'll be able to connect with local industry pros, learn about new technology in the industry, as well as get backstage experience that really matters. Join Simpy for a backstage pass to all of this.
We meet every last Monday of the month for our general body meetings. There we discuss how new technology is being used to create new media, and we get to highlight local professionals and their specialties.
On top of that, we have some site visits planned, so tune into our social media to be notified of when those will happen.
So if you're ready to pull back the curtain and find out what really happens behind the scenes, join Simpy at UCF.
Welcome back to Nighttime. It's time to talk UCF basketball. The Knights started the season strong, going 9-2 in out-of-conference play, but Big 12 basketball still looms ahead. Let's take a look at what our Knights have been up to these last few weeks.
Yeah, UCF opened conference play in a stacked Big 12 against Texas Tech. And we're going to start with some defense here. Steal by Jalen Sellers and the dunk to follow. He's recovering from his injury well. Now, 3 minutes in the half, Johnson dishes to Keyshawn Hall, and it falls. 22 points on the night. But Darius one's in on the action, too. Chiam with the screen, and Johnson from long range. It's good. The senior led the team in scoring 24 points for him. Now, Knights gave up their comfortable lead, and bang, Chance McMillan gets it to go. Under a minute left now, Darian Williams, he's going to put some moves in the paint, spin around, but it won't go. But it's rebounded by JT Toppin, 1 point game. But that would be the last bucket, as Darius Johnson will make his free throws, and UCF takes it 87-83.
Now, Matthew, we rang in the new year with a very upsetting game versus Kansas, riding with high hopes for another upset, but this hope was promptly destroyed with pent-up Jayhawk anger from last season. Now, there aren't a lot of highlights from this game, as it was truly hard to watch, but UCF tries to hang on to the close game, but it quickly gets away from the Knights as Kansas very quickly takes the 41-25 point lead over the hometown boys. Kansas came into this game with a fury, and they never let up, handing the Knights their very first conference loss of the season, an embarrassing 99-48, a tragedy to all Knights fans kicking off the new year in Addition Financial Stadium that night.
This was brutal. But hey, Mikey Williams, alley-oop, could be a sign of things to come. I like him. But
at least he got his minutes.
Knights are going to host the Buffs now, and it's time for some instant offense. Dior Johnson to Ivy Curry. It is good. But Colorado answers quick. Julian Hammond putting Chiam on skates. His three good. This is going to be a long night. Now, Mikey Williams' turnaround jumper falls, and he's been finding his rhythm lately. 53-46, but make it 56-46. Bangot Doc gets it to go. Colorado creating some separation, but the Knights will go on a run, and Keyshawn Hall is going to draw them closer. UCF up 1. Now, 4 seconds left. It's put up and rejected by Hall. Big guard with some clutch offense, clutch defense, all dubs, UCF.
Moving on to Saturday, the Knights faced off against Arizona. Darius Johnson trying to get in on the action, but the ball's turned over by KJ Lewis, who takes it in for the dunk, followed up by sort of a Michael Jordan-esque dunk from Toby Awake.
I don't know about that.
Okay. Arizona shot for 46.7% in the paint today, while UCF staggering in with 38.5%. Arizona back with the ball, turning a three-point miss into the alley-oop. This was a rough ending for the Knights as they fall 88-80.
Yeah, but let's keep it in Arizona, Playing the Sun Devils now. Hall is going to pump fake on this one and make him look silly. Now he shoots it for real, and it's good. Big night for him incoming. Now fast forward to the last 8, ASU up by 1. BJ Freeman, step back 3, good. 26 on the night for him, but that's nothing because Keyshawn Hall dropped 40 in this one with a tough layup. It puts us up by 1. Now ASU with a chance here. He puts it up. It won't go, but it's rebounded, but it's blocked by Benny Williams. UCF with the ball again, and big guard gets big buckets. He can't be stopped. That'll seal it for UCF, and we're going to take it 95-89, and it'll bring the Knights to 3-2 in conference play. Pretty solid run to start things,
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. Obviously, Kansas was a little embarrassing, but extenuating circumstances.
Exactly, and honestly, maybe we were owed that one after we tested our luck last year against them. But we're going to bring in Ben Huber now to talk about some basketball. Ben, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm ready to talk about some UCF basketball.
Of course, we love having you, Ben. Now, after looking at these 5 games, what is your key takeaway from this run from the Knights?
Yeah, in these Big 12 matchups, the key takeaway for me is that we're just finding ways to win these games we're really not supposed to. We're not really favored in many of these games, but we are good down the stretch shooting, and at least in most of them. But yeah, we're good down the stretch shooting, but when we have to rely on our defense, it doesn't go so well for us. So I think that's a takeaway for me.
Yeah, I mean, you really notice with these losses, like, it's kind of a combination of when we're cold, all of us are cold, and it's ice cold. And I think that we get outplayed on the rebounds too, which is definitely a problem.
I agree. I think we definitely need to be more aggressive in the paint because, I mean, if we're not rebounding balls, we're not boxing people out. Like the little things that we learned in little kid basketball when we were in kindergarten, our Knights just aren't doing.
Yeah, and I mean, Keyshawn Hall should not be the guy who's generating the most boards on this team. But you know, speaking about these concerns, what do you think concerns you more, the defensive struggles or the shooting struggles? And, you know, how can we fix this?
For me, it's definitely the defensive struggles. You know, we're pretty streaky when we're shooting. You know, sometimes we're hot, sometimes we're really cold. But I think defense, we have a very small lineup, a lot of guards, and we really only have Chiam is our tallest player, and he's a pretty raw prospect. Doesn't grab enough rebounds, I'd say. But yeah, if we want to keep winning games, we have to rebound better and play better defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a valid take for sure. I mean, the defense would fix a lot of our problems, really.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we're one of the worst units defensively in the Big 12, and that it won't win you games when you're playing against Houston's, Kansas's, Iowa State's. Like, you just can't do that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Now, Ben, who has been the breakout player for UCF during this span?
I mean, I think he's head and shoulders above everyone else on this team. It's Keyshawn Hall. He is a matchup nightmare. He gets on these smaller guards, and he's able to just put them to work. He can splash a 3 right in your face, and then on the very next possession, he can take advantage of how you're playing and drive right into the basket and hit a nice layup. So I think he's really been the breakout guy. He's been awesome.
Yeah, I love Keyshawn Hall. He's really turned a corner since we started conference play. My breakout, would have been Keyshawn Hall. But I'll pick a guy I really like too in Jordan Ivy Curry. Coming in from UTSA, this guy has really become a spark plug for us. He's averaging 14.3 points per game. He gets some boards a game too. He's a good option next to the Keyshawn Halls and the Darius Johnsons.
Right, and now for my pick, I'm going to have to go with Chiam. I mean, I really think that he's like head and shoulders. He's going to be one of the most improved players on the season. I think he's a guy to look out for. I think that once he settles into this UCF environment, I think he's going to be astounding.
Yeah, I mean, we forget he's only a freshman.
Right.
Once he, gets a better grasp of the college fundamentals, I think he can be, one of the greatest UCF big men, truthfully. I was about to say Taco Fall. Maybe not Taco Fall. We love Taco Fall here at Nighttime. But, you mentioned Keyshawn Hall. After his 40-piece against Arizona State, do you think it's time for the offense to completely run through Keyshawn Hall, or should it be someone else?
I mean, I think definitely he should be the focal point if that wasn't obvious already. Yeah, that 40-point game, he was absolutely dominant. I think there's a lot of other guys on the team, though, that can, make plays like Jordan Ivy Curry. But I think he should be our main scorer, our main focal point on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too. I would have said like Darius Johnson a couple games ago, but Keyshawn Hall has really turned it around when it comes to his shooting. I know that was kind of a concern. I think one of the games, it was like 4 for 17, which you can't have that, but I think he's starting to take steps in the right direction.
I honestly think that a lot of things should run through Keyshawn Hall, but I think that we need to keep our offense diverse. I think that is going to set us up for success because people are going to catch on really quick if we're only using Keyshawn Hall to score our points.
That's fair.
All right, now, Ben, on Saturday, we take on Houston for our space game, and you can watch HTF's pregame coverage of that game at 11:30, only on ESPN+. Houston is Houston is near the top of the Big 12, and they play great defense, only allowing 54.2 points per game. What does UCF need to do to win this game?
Yeah, year in, year out, Houston always has a top defense, and that's no surprise. I think UCF just needs to be hot from 3. If they can hit their shots when they get the opportunity against this stingy defense, I think that'll be the difference maker for them. I think we just need to hit our shots.
I could see that. And, when you're looking at Houston, truthfully, they are year in, year out, like we said, one of the better teams in the Big 12, but they kind of don't really have like at least in my eyes, like a star scorer.
No, I don't think so.
The highest average per game is like 12 points. I'm looking at women's basketball. So, they could have a star scorer, maybe, who knows, but
I think it's time to break
they
this.
are a good team. We are going to need to get hot from three to start. I agree.
We're going to need to break this 9-point winning streak. I think it's the only way we can do it. All right, Ben, final question. UCF faces a tough second half of the year. Multiple ranked teams on the horizon. What is your record prediction, and is a trip to March Madness in sight?
I crunched the numbers a little bit. I looked at the schedule. We have a lot of ranked opponents coming up. It's very scary to see that. But I have us going 18-9. So I think if we do well in the Big 12 tournament, that'll be more, that'll get us into the March Madness tournament. But, I think we definitely have a chance. I was pretty pessimistic last week when we were talking about UCF basketball, but I've liked what I've seen the past few games from them. So.
Now, Ben, was that UCF women's or men's basketball?
We're so funny on nighttime. We love
just
doing
to be
bits.
clear, that's men's, yes.
I can see that range. I'll say like 20 games. I think that we could go for about 20 wins or so.
I think I'm more on Ben's side with this one. I don't think we're capable of pulling out 20 games this season, but I digress. When we come back, we'll be talking about the college football playoffs, so stay tuned.
So I guess the crew's getting ready for the next segment on one of our amazing shows. I'm Nick Cohen, host of season 20 of Hitting the Field, and let me tell you about those amazing shows. On behalf of HTF, we hope you're enjoying today's content, but I'm here to tell you about everything else we offer here at the network. Mondays at 4, HTF Bets goes live for season 10 with 3 gamblers that, although it may not always seem like it, are here to help us all earn a little bit of extra money while we watch sports. Diego Ortiz, Tyler Brownrigg, and Andrew Gregg's ball knowledge and fun personalities make this show a fan favorite. On Tuesdays, you all loved it, so we brought it back for season 2. It's Girls Got Game, hosted by Frankie Noble, a show blending women in sports, the biggest sports news stories, and creative segments that make for a fun and engaging show. Next is everyone's favorite sports podcast, The Combine, hosted by who other than Ty Patton, an easygoing, conversational, and technical podcast dropping Wednesdays, also on Spotify at The Combine. Then tune in Thursdays at noon for the network's main show, season 20 of Hitting the Field, hosted by me. Here, we'll cover any sport, any topic, any story, no matter how obscure. We love some football, basketball, hockey, F1. We also cover baseball, soccer, and we even have to show the UFC love sometimes. Penultimately, TGIF, because Friday is nighttime, hosted by Kathleen Moore and Matthew Bracker. Season 8 of Nighttime is where you'll turn to for all things March Madness, UCF sports, and other collegiate events. We're ending with something brand new. HTFN has never had 6 shows running at once. Also filmed in our new podcast studio is HTFC, hosted by Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick De Leon. Football, or soccer in America, is the most popular sport in the world. Across multiple leagues and cups, soccer is a year-round sport, and HTFC is your new source to stay updated. Also on Spotify, by the way, at HTFC. Outside of our 6-show roster, be sure to tune in to our other content, such as the Studio Days vlog, run by our vlog squad of Brianna St. Jean, Michaela Croker, Ashley Rowe, and Ben Huber. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram, Facebook, and X to stay updated on all HTFN news. Remember to subscribe right here on YouTube, leave a like and comment. And with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I'm Nick Cohen. Thank you for your continued support, and back to your regularly scheduled programming.
And welcome back to Nighttime. It's time to talk about the college football playoffs, the first of its kind, with 12 teams joining the fray. Now, let's get into the action here with Texas and Ohio State. To think the Ohio State Buckeyes would have missed out on the college football playoffs in the previous 4-team format is silly when you see what they left in their wake against Tennessee and Oregon, beating both teams by at least 20 points. However, Texas didn't plan to roll over. After all, Ohio State did have to travel into the heart of the Lone Star State in Austin. Did the Buckeyes survive, or did the Longhorns hook them? Let's find out. Now, we're going to get into the game here, and it's been 2 decades since Texas has played Ohio State, but Quinshawn Judkins escapes the line of scrimmage and falls into the end zone early. He's been a monster all year, but second quarter now, Quinn Ewers looking to jumpstart his offense, but he's going to be sacked, and that is the story of this game. He was brought down 4 times, and these sacks were drive killers. However, He's going to leave a drive here. Longhorns in the red zone. Ewers finds Jadon Blue, and he scores. Texas finally on the board, ties it before half, but it won't last long. First play of the drive, Will Howard drifting back, screen pass to Travion Henderson. He follows his blocks, and he's going to break through. And nothing but green grass ahead of you, kid. He's got blazing speed, and he's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Ohio State. How is that for a response? Now, let's get into the second half here. Will Howard is going to try to keep the momentum on their side for Ohio State. He'll air it out, but it's picked off by David Benda. Hey, he might swerve, Benda corner, whoa. Quentin Ewers is definitely a LiAngelo Ball fan because it's a touchdown for Jadon Blue again, 2 for Blue. Now 4th and 2, Ohio. Will Howard will keep it. Clutch run for the Buckeyes. He gets tripped up, but he's in the red zone, and they'll capitalize. Judkins up the middle for another score. Him and Henderson got to be the best backfield duo in the nation, without question. 21-14. Now Texas on 4th and goal, but Ewers, he's going to get sacked and the ball is loose. Who's this? It's a modern-day warrior with a mean stride. It's today's Jack Sawyer, mean pride. Jack Sawyer, the senior defensive end, becomes a Buckeye legend with an 83-yard scoop and score to clinch this game. Longest return in CFP history, and the pandemonium. Someone teach this man how to breathe. He's going to die out here. Ewers, he's got to do something now, and his last collegiate pass, yes, he's somehow going to the draft, is picked off by Caleb Downs. Ohio State wins the Cotton Bowl, and it's the defense getting the job done late. And they are going to send them away to a date with destiny in the national championship. What a game. I mean, this is the kind of matchup you just dream about, right? Huge Big Ten SEC clash, season on the line. How can you not love college football?
What a beautiful song you just had.
Thank you. Are you a Rush fan?
Oh, I am.
Big 80s rock?
I am. I love Tom Sawyer. It's a great song.
I had to do that for our producer, Justice.
For the bit.
He wanted me to. Yeah, we love bits here at nighttime.
We love bits.
If you couldn't tell.
All right, let's move away
on
from the bits and let's get into a tragic game for this Penn State fan. Everyone's been waiting for the shoe to drop for these two programs. James Franklin hasn't been able to lead Penn State to a national championship during his 11-year tenure, despite boasting an impressive 101-42 record. And the last time Notre Dame won the national championship was in 1988. So between the Nittany Lions and the Fighting Irish, something had to give, Matthew. All right, so let's get into this game right here. It's a slow start to the Orange Bowl, but the Fighting Irish are looking to spice things up with a deep lob from Riley Leonard. Pass is caught by Benjamin Morrison, who takes it down to the 20. This sets Leonard up perfectly for the quarterback sneak. Touchdown, Notre Dame. These two teams have faced off 19 times in college football history, with the series tied 9-9-1. Next up, Penn State trying to convert on 3rd down with the handoff to Katron Allen, who gets absolutely stuffed. Now, Penn State's O-line really struggled in this game, with Drew Aller getting sacked an unconventional 3 times for him.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Very interesting moment in this game. I mean, he's just not able to scramble whatsoever.
Which you really haven't seen all this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's looking to pull away, hands it off to Jaden Thomas for a nice little 20-yard gain here. But, you know,
A little something
we'll
nice.
take it.
No,
We'll take
Jeremiah.
it. We'll take
Yeah.
it. Lined up on the 2-yard line now, Riley Leonard gives the handoff away to Jeremiah Love, who scrapes and he tears
Oh my
and he tears
Big
for the
man.
2 yards with an
Give me
impeccable
that.
reach there for the touchdown. Trying to catch up with under 5 minutes left to play, Leonard's going to throw a 40-yard pass to Jaden Greathouse, who has room to run. He spins, leaving Penn State's safety sitting on his butt as Greathouse takes it all the way to the house. Folks, we have a tie game with less than a minute remaining. After a failed Penn State possession, Notre Dame is given a final chance to get into field goal range and secure their spot in the championship game, and Leonard throws and it's caught by Greathouse, who lets kicker Mitch Jeter, with no relation to Derek Jeter, by the way, finish the job for the Fighting Irish.
Dang. Imagine being a Penn State fan. This just has to be heartbreak on the highest level. I mean, how do you go to HTF in the morning after this game? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, who can relate to being a Penn State fan and having to make a voiceover for a Penn State loss in the semifinals of the College Football Championship?
My NFL team lost horribly in the playoffs too. So
RIP the Broncos?
Yeah. We're not going to talk about the Broncos on nighttime. It was a very unconventional game from Drew Aller, I will say. That last possession, when he had a chance to go down the field and he instantly throws a pick, that's just something you don't see from him all year.
No, I mean, I think that game is going to haunt him throughout his NFL career. That man's never going to fumble or throw an interception on a final drive in a game ever, because he's just going to be scarred.
You heard it here first, but we are going to bring on Dwayne Jones to talk some college football playoffs. Dwayne, how are you doing today?
Good, guys. Good to be with you.
Of course. Now, Dwayne, what do you think, after seeing all these teams play, what is the most surprising outcome so far in this playoffs?
So the most surprising outcome for me goes all the way back to the quarterfinals, Oregon versus Ohio State, the 20-point loss. It just shows how hard it is to beat a team twice in college football, as Ohio State did lose earlier to Oregon in the season, but Oregon took the loss this time when it really mattered most. And Dylan Gabriel kind of froze. It was really shocking. Oregon was my pick to win it all, but unfortunately they were not able to pull it off against this tough Ohio State team.
Yeah, now if I'm not mistaken, Matthew, Oregon was also your pick on Nighttime.
Yeah, it was my pick on Nighttime.
A few weeks ago.
About a month ago, yes. A lot can happen in a month. It was really unconventional from Dylan Gabriel. And, you want a former Knight to win in the national championship, and I really thought he would, but what are you going to do?
I mean, he just wasn't ready for the big stage yet, I don't think. I think he'll translate decently well in the NFL, but this just wasn't his day.
Yeah, but, we're going to move on to a kind of burning question. I know over break, a lot of the Nighttime production people, we talked about this. Dwayne, do you think that the 12-team playoffs work, or is it too soon?
I think it does. I think this 12-team playoff does work. I think we see that now in this national championship game, as Ohio State and Notre Dame would have been left out of the playoff if we were still at the 4-team format. But now with the 12 teams, they had a shot and they took advantage of their shots, and now they are both the two teams left standing. So I think it does. I think the committee does need to go back and tweak maybe how the reseeding system works, similar to how the NFL does theirs. But I think this 12-team playoff is a success for years to come.
Yeah, I don't think it works for a weird reason.
He's very picky.
Yeah. I think that giving the first round teams who have the higher seed than the ones they're playing home field advantage, it just doesn't work, right? With the 4-team playoff, it was teams in neutral sites, just so it's team battling team, right? When you give a team home field advantage, you're giving them that aspect of it, that they have that tiny advantage. I understand it's an advantage. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any home field advantage. I like the NFL because it's home field advantage until the championship. I just feel like if you are the committee, you got to do either or. It's either up until the Natty or none at all.
Now, granted, I'll give it to you, Matthew. There is a huge talent differential between the number 1 seed and number 12 seed or whatever. But home field advantage, I think, works.
Okay.
I think the 12-team playoff works. Okay, now, Dwayne, next question, because Matthew's going to get in a tizzy. After seeing both running backs perform under bright lights, is Cam Scadaboo a better running back than Ashton Jaunty like he says he is?
I know how both of you feel about this question, but I am going to go with Scadaboo. I think in the Peach Bowl performance against Texas, he showed us all around he's a better passer, receiver, and rusher than Ashton Jaunty. And I think he'll be a lot more special in the NFL. I just think that he brings a lot more to the table than Ashton Jaunty does.
Hey, maybe he'll have a better career at quarterback, but Jaunty's season was undoubtedly one of the best running back seasons of all time. Now, there is a question to be made about, the talent levels that he was playing against. We saw how he performed in the playoffs, but he still recorded 100 yards, and Penn State was stacking that box. So it'll be interesting. I think this question can only be answered when they go to the league, and depends which O-line they get.
That's very true. Now, I do think that Scadaboo, he's got great grit. The guy is a hard worker through and through. He's throwing up his lunch on the sidelines.
He is a dog for sure. But we're going to move on here now. Penn State, heartbreaking loss, obviously. How are they going to recover from here?
This is a tough one. I think Penn State's got to recover by just stepping up their game overall, especially on the defensive side. One of the best defensive ends in the country did declare for the NFL draft. Abdul Carter, he will be leaving. They had a couple other defensive players transfer out. So I think it's going to be rebuilding that defense and making it stronger. But I think James Franklin still does need to prove to us that he can win under the bright lights as well.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that as a Penn State fan. I really think we need to work on the offensive line, and we've got a lot of guys that are seniors that are going to be leaving us, and the offensive line has proved to be decent for most of the season, although it didn't really look like it in that last game with the 3 sacks for poor Drew.
Yeah, that was rough.
Rest in peace.
All right, we're going to move on now. It's what everyone's been waiting for, the Natty. Obviously, it's this Monday. We're going to be watching Notre Dame and Ohio State battle it out. Marcus Freeman actually played for Ohio State from 2004 to 2008. And Ryan Day, this narrative that's been around him about not being able to win with the bright lights on him, he's hoping to change that. Now, since 1995, Ohio State is 6-0 against Notre Dame. You can see right there. Looks like a completely different person. But, yeah, Marcus Freeman. I had no idea he played for Ohio State. But, Ohio State is 6-0 against Notre Dame. The Buckeyes won most recently in 2023. Now, there was still a Berlin Wall the last time Notre Dame won the national championship, so it's been a long time coming. Dwayne, really quick, who are some players to watch out for on both teams for this championship?
Jaden Greathouse. He finished with 105 receiving yards against Penn State in their last game. I think that is someone to keep an eye on for this game, as Riley Leonard's going to be targeting him for most of the game.
Right, and Dwayne, what are the keys to the game?
The key to this game is going to be Chip Kelly's Ohio State offense versus this Notre Dame defense. I think it's going to be an absolute battle, but if Notre Dame can contain Jeremiah Smith, I think they'll be able to pull out with a victory.
All right, now Dwayne, Natty predictions. Who is winning this one?
This is a tough one. It's going to be a nail biter, but I'm going to go with the Irish. I've been with them since the last round. I'm going to stick with them this time. I think they're going to pull it out.
All right, Patrick Previty would be very happy with that. I love me some Patrick Previty, but I am going to have to break his heart and say Ohio State. I think that backfield duo is amazing. I think that this is going to be a close game because I do think they have some great pieces on defense on both teams. Obviously, Jack Sawyer, like we saw, is having a career season. I think that this game is going to come down to the wire. I'll say 30-27.
Okay, that's not bad. You know, if you couldn't tell by my outfit, I think Ohio State's going to take this one as well. And Notre Dame, I think that they've had a really great season other than, Northern Illinois. That was rough. But I think that Ohio State's going to take this one in a nail biter. They both have great pieces to their offenses and defense. So I honestly just think that it could go any way. Like if they played the game the next day, it could be a totally different outcome.
Right.
But I'm going to have to go Ohio State for this one.
What's your final score?
27-24.
All right. Well, hey, whoever is closer is the winner of our Game of the Week picks, our first one of the season.
Oh, no.
And it's back.
Oh, no.
The loser has to wear a chicken hat next week. Game of the Week. Nobody wants this. I don't want this. Do you want this?
No.
We'll see what happens. Our producer, Justice, will see who's closer. And, that's the fate for the loser. But this is it for nighttime. Dwayne, thank you so much for coming on. Hope you're going to enjoy watching the Natty as much as we are.
Oh, yeah.
But that is going to do it. Thank you so much for all our guests who joined us and everyone in the studio. Kathleen, thank you for joining me. You did a great job.
Thank you.
First episode as a host. Now join us next week, and we'll definitely be talking about the Natty.
Of course.
It's going to be a fun one. But until then, I'm Matthew Bracker. This is Kathleen Moore. Have a good one.